Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Locker Room. I'm Alan Locher, and happy to have you here with me today. I am really excited to welcome Rich Burns, Gedde Watanabe, James Campbell back to the Locker Room to talk once again about the Humanitas Prize-winning LGBTQ plus series, The Disappointments. Joining them today is their co-star, Chuck Saculla, who plays Ignacio Vasquez, a man in line to take over his family's storied Beverly Hills real estate agency. Fans of The Disappointment have been eagerly awaiting season 2, and the wait is almost over. The new season premieres this Sunday, March 26th, and viewers will finally learn what happens after that big season 1 cliffhanger between Ray and Dwight. We'll talk about the journey to getting season 2 made, the newly released director's cut of season 1 that fans have been enjoying, and what fans can expect as the story continues. So let's get right to it. Please welcome to the Locker Room, Rich Burns, Gedde Watanabe, James Campbell, and Chuck Saculla. Gentlemen.
Hey, hello.
Welcome back.
Thursday.
Thank you.
Welcome
Thank you for
back.
having us.
Yeah, my pleasure. So excited. I told Rich I've seen the first 3. I'm not going to give anything away, but the fans are in for a ride. Rich, I know this has been such a long journey. How are you feeling basically about 4 days away from season 2?
Wow, I'm so relieved. It literally, the show has been done for almost 2 years. Just been sitting there waiting because we've been trying to sell it. The timing of that, waiting to try to sell it, and then the actual time it took to try to sell it, and then it didn't happen. You know, I'm disappointed about that, but I'm just really excited for people to see all of the amazing hard work these people that you see here on the screen did, the people who are behind the scenes. It's an amazing season.
Well, the fact that it has been so long since season 1, what Gedde, James, Chuck, because Chuck, you did appear in season 1 as well. What has the response been like?
I can't hear him speak.
Uh-oh. You can't hear me? Gedde, sign back in. Oh, what happened to James?
James is here.
Am I here?
Yeah,
I didn't go anywhere.
James.
You're
I
there.
see James. I see Chuck.
Oh, okay.
I see Gedde. Gedde, can you hear me?
How about me? You always like to hear me, don't you?
Gedde, can you hear us? Gedde. If somebody wants to just text him to sign back in, I'm going to kick him out.
Okay.
That should work.
I'll do that.
Okay. I was going to ask James, what has the reaction, over the last couple of years since season 1 was released? What do you hear from people who've seen The Disappointments, and Chuck, yourself as well?
When is season 2 coming out? When is season 2 coming out? Over and over. And it's like, and I have to tell them or they say, is it out? And I just have to go, okay, so if it was out, don't you think I would have told you? Yeah. So it's actually really cool that that people do want to see season 2 so much. And even just recently, I was at my gym in Palm Springs taking a class. There were about 30 people in the class, and I'm going over to grab some weights. And this guy looks at me, he goes, Are you James from The Disappointments? And I said, well, yes, I am. I asked him if he wanted my autograph. I'm kidding, Rich.
He laughed in your face and ran away, right?
Yes. No. He said, so when is season 2 coming out? And I said, have you not been following Rich or do you not know about the director's cut for season 1? And he had no idea. And I said, you need to get back on and look at all Rich's posts and, come up to speed. And it was actually really cool. He was really excited and he was very complimentary of the show. And that tends to be the overall sort of response. Like, people want to know what's going on and what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I could have just said that without taking 15 minutes to tell.
Gedde, can you hear us now?
Oh,
I can
God.
hear you now. Thank you. I'm so glad. what was the question? Can you feel me?
About the reaction since the show's been out for so long. What do you hear from people you meet who have seen the disappointment?
Oh yeah.
There he is.
No, I'm kind of amazed the people who have come up and just say, "Oh, I've seen you in the show. I love Palm Springs people," but every once in a while I just get ladies off the street who I've had a few who
Streetwalkers.
shows. I never know what the demographic is on yeah, that's true. But I mean, I'm totally surprised time when I get somebody coming up every once in a while, but I get it. So people are watching it. It's very exciting.
Well, you have a new viewer who came in this week.
Oh, please say.
Or recently.
I'm sorry. I was just going to make a suggestion. Gedde,
Yeah.
turn off your Wi-Fi
Sorry.
on your phone.
Yeah.
Turn off your Wi-Fi.
My Wi-Fi.
You may have complicated things, Rich.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
He has a nice,
But
lovely.
don't talk while you're doing it.
That means
So this is the dynamic.
Well, at least we're consistent,
My
right?
Wi-Fi.
Hey, Chuck, what do you think?
Absolutely. I had a friend reach out
My-
who saw that I was promoting this, and he's like, "Oh my God, I just started watching it." So
Oh, that's
you know,
cool.
yeah, I love it that people are, finding it anew as well. And great to find it anew right before season 2 because they don't have to wait.
they are finding it. They are.
And the thing is, you go, Chuck. Sorry.
I have family in Indiana who didn't know anything about it, honestly. And the first thing that they recognize is Gedde from 16 Candles. Is that Gonger? So they're starting to watch now, and they came on at a good time since Rich put out the director's cuts, so which makes it easier. For me, it's going to be fun because I'm in a lot more this season, and I just can't wait for the people to see it. But I echo what James was saying. Everyone kept asking, when is it coming out? When is it coming out? And I said, it's coming. Don't you worry. But continue to watch the new edit, and you'll be caught up.
That's an understatement that you're in it a little more for your,
Yeah.
you maybe want to prepare the family.
You're right.
Rich, when did it finally hit you that
I have
season
some
2?
people.
When they
Go
finally
ahead, Gedde. When that season 2 was going to be made, I know it was.
You know what? What happened was when we were making season 1, as we were editing it, I started feeling really good about the show, and so I started thinking about a season 2. We ended up going back and shooting, adding to the script. It wasn't originally there, the cliffhanger in season 1. So we added that to make that a natural run into season 2. So people would be, there'd be a cliffhanger. People would want to see more. Plus Gary's character, there was a health issue, and James's character, we didn't know what he was going to do with his life. But the thing that people seem to really latch onto was the cliffhanger. And I think I knew it was going to work when we started the fundraiser shortly after, maybe even right before the last couple of episodes dropped. And people just started showing up and said, hey, I want more of this. So that was kind of it. So it's right on the tail of season 1.
And James, for you, what was it like, stepping back into the role?
It seemed like it didn't stop, actually, because no, and I'm not trying to be funny because like what Rich said, before we even sort of finished season 1, we knew there was going to be a season 2. At least we were planning on that.
Right.
And just hearing some of Rich's ideas of, hey, what about this? What about that? And it was just a matter of time until the scripts were done, and then the logistics were put in place, and then we just jumped right back. And the thing is, it's very familiar. I think it's familiar for all of us in front of the camera and for everybody, behind the scenes, that we're used to working together, and there's a connection. And like I said, it's familiar.
It's familiar and familial.
I was just going to say that. Get out of my head.
It really is. I mean, watching you guys and Gedde, I mean, your character has quite an emotional, roller coaster in season 1. But I think Rich, wanted more emotion, because it looks like season 2 is headed for that. Were you excited for when you heard what was coming in season 2?
Oh yeah, because I kept getting bits and pieces of what was going to. I think, Rich, you just kept it a secret in some ways, because are we allowed to say what happened, Rich, or is that supposed to be a surprise? I don't know.
It's supposed to be a surprise.
Okay.
In fact, Alan texted me on his bus ride home saying he just got to that part in the 3rd episode, and he expressed exactly what we want from him.
Yeah.
So
There's really
works.
exciting stuff.
Yeah.
We'll keep it as a surprise, though. But
It's very exciting stuff.
I mean,
does something happen?
Every turn to me, every turn in my character is a total surprise to me, and it was a joy to find out, because I didn't anticipate anything happening, including the ending, and Rich had in mind for the ending. So I was very happy just doing it. Period.
I can't wait to watch more. Chuck, for you, like I said briefly, season 1, were you excited for what was to come in season 2 when you learned you'd be expanding Ignacio's role?
Yes, absolutely. Especially when Rich was telling me what he wanted, and I can't wait for you to see some of the antics that James and I get ourselves into. And my sentiment goes to James, because I think he's a fantastic sparring buddy. He's really funny, and we get to play a lot, and we just have a good time. And given what Rich gave us, we just amp it up until Rich had to say stop, or don't do that.
Thank you, Mark. That's super sweet of you to say.
Chewing the scenery, exactly. So I can't wait. There's some really fun episodes coming up, and I'm delighted to be a bigger part of it in such a fun show. And as James said, we do get along very well on and off camera, and we just have a good time. So I'm very happy to be a part of it.
Well, speaking of that, the getting along, Rich has actually said that the heart of the show is really the friendship between these 3 men. Does that feel true while you're making the series?
Depending on the length of the shoot that day.
How hard Rich makes you work?
Yes.
Yes, I think we can get each other through this.
And the budget.
Yeah. Well, I think that everybody, there's a camaraderie on the sets. I think that everybody's kind of all in. No prima donnas. Like, I can think of some things that James had to do. There's a sequence that happens in the 6th episode that is mostly silent for about 6 minutes of James doing physical comedy. And it's interspersed with some other things, but he had a big ass task to do that, to make that all come together, the things that he physically had to do, and he never complained, which
I didn't.
Well, to me he did.
Well, let me put it this way: you didn't complain any more than you do normally.
Okay, good.
He never complained to you.
Possibly.
I'm kidding.
I heard it all.
I feel like you saw what it was. You knew it was something that if you put your all into it, it was going to be great. And to your credit, that's what happened.
Oh, thank you. That's
And
sweet
Chuck
of you
was
to
there.
say. And Chuck was there.
Rich, the director's cut has been rolling out leading up to the season 2 premiere. what does that version, the director's cut, allow viewers to experience that you feel the original didn't?
Well, one thing is it prepares the viewers for the second season in the sense that the episodes have been put back together. They were originally longer episodes in my head, the way I originally wrote them, that we knew once it was going to YouTube, we chopped it up into smaller segments. And number one of putting it back together was so the audience would then be ready for full-length episode 2. But more than that, there were some things that I had to cut for various reasons in season 1 from those shorter episodes that it never sat well with me. I always missed these things. Some big, some little. There's like an exchange between James and Chuck in the open house episode where they're in the kitchen and they've got this little thing going on between the two of them. It's very funny. And for whatever reason, and no diss, but my editor at the time decided we should cut that down. And once I saw it, really saw it and had stepped away and the show was done, I realized, oh man, I missed that full exchange. And the joke didn't land quite the same because there was a key line taken out. So there was that. There's some things that went on between Ray and Dwight that have been cut out that I think are really important for the dynamic of the relationship. And we had done what we refer to as the disastrous test screening, where it actually was super positive, the test screening. But whoever these people were that were brought into the test screening to watch the first 7 episodes in a very rough cut did not respond well to the Ray-Dwight relationship, and in particular, to Dwight. And so we took some things out that I also missed. And I don't know if it makes Dwight more unlikable, but it was essential for the relationship. And I find that people who are watching it now think what we have put back in with Ray and Dwight is very funny. So overall, I think it's a truer to what I wanted the show to be. So people watching it are seeing the truer version of what I wanted them to see in the first place. And it sets the tone, I think, better for season 2.
Well, can I just throw in too that with the re-edited season 1, that sort of journey for that episode is way more complete. It's, in the other way, it kind of left you hanging, or it was abrupt endings, or it's sort of like, what was that? And this is like we have full episodes, and I think, and Rich is right, that it prepares the audience to see those types of episodes for season 2, where there's a lot of story packed in each episode now. Yeah. And you feel like you're more on the journey, as opposed to the train starts going and then all of a sudden it stops in the middle of the tracks. So it's
a great description. Great description.
Yeah.
Speaking, Rich has described Chuck and James, your chemistry as, being immediate. Did you two feel it working together?
Are you going to say it, Chuck?
Yeah. Well, we start with comedy gold, and then it's comedy old, comedy mold. That's where it goes. James and I have worked together before. So we're keeping it. It's our brand. Comedy gold, comedy mold, comedy old. It works. Comes in 3. But James and I worked together before, and we had a very good time then as well. And we've also catered in real life together. So we did have a really good chemistry. And
I forgot about that.
We were just able to play and just have a good time. And
where did you perform together before?
Musical Theater West. That's where we met.
Yeah. What was the name of that? Not my one and only.
Call Me Madam.
No.
Yeah, Diane Vincent. No, Diane Vincent.
No, Vicki Lewis.
Oh, is that who? I don't remember.
See, this is our repetition. This is it.
It was in Long Beach, Regional Theater in Long Beach.
Yeah, Musical Theater West. I forget.
Well, I think what you're seeing, this dynamic, the way they tease each other, like I saw this in real life. I saw it when I was on the set. And even though Chuck was only in that one episode in the first season, I was like, okay, these guys have to be a thing. I'm going to bring got to make them romantic interests with each other, but also business, and make it very twisted and full of conflict and weirdness.
That's an understatement.
It started with the muffins, you know, that wasn't the bit with the muffins wasn't truly written in the script.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so the muffins came out of nowhere, and there you go. The rest is history.
I love that. Gedde, you're reunited with Debbie Pollack this season. Tell us about working opposite her.
Yeah. Oh, she's an old pal. She just, you know, I talk to her probably every month or whatever, and we go out and eat and stuff like that. But we've been together. You know, she and I knew each other in New York way back. So it was perfect that Rich invited her to the show. I was thrilled, and maybe people will get hints of what that past was. You never know. You know, we both got older. So
Gedde, what was the big past? You're not leading with the headline. What did you guys do together?
We did 16 Candles together, of course. That
right.
You know that show. Okay, good.
Yes.
I never know people because it's so old. Yeah. So you know, she was my American girlfriend. You know, and I was kind of lying on, you know, dancing and I got the girl. Was basically said. Long duck down, got the girl.
Well, it's kind of funny in the disappointments that, you know, everyone asks you to, you know, to recite your line, which is perfect because I'm sure, you know, for you know, 16 Candles people are the same thing.
They're still doing it. They're doing it. They're doing it on the stage. They're doing it on the stage, and you know, I'm sitting there going, "Wait, these are Asian actors. They're asking me those lines to do those." I'm sitting there going, "Wow, times have changed." We'll see. But no, it was a you know, I have to give a shout out to a lot of the co-stars. Rich gathered some really good people to be in the cast, all of the roles, and everybody seems so incredible and so supportive of this, and I say that's kudos to Rich's vision. He just kind of brought everybody together, and we kind of all clamored in and made soup, basically. We got it together.
Well, and I will say that one of my favorite bits of casting was directly from Gedde. June Carroll plays Lorena, who is the person that Gedde's character gets involved with professionally. And she's brilliant. And I wrote this role, and I was like, oh my God, we're never going to find anybody. We did open auditions, and I was like, no, these people are all wrong. And Gedde kept saying, you need to meet June. You need to meet June. And finally, he got her on tape with his phone. And the second I saw it, I
actually her.
He
put it on tape.
He forced me, and
the
he
audacity.
was so right. The audacity.
I love that when somebody, you know, really knows that somebody's right for something.
Yeah. He knew.
Yeah.
Well, I'm married to a casting director.
That helps.
The writer's room, the casting there, I should offer props to Trevor, because those were all friends of his, people that he knew, and they are perfect in the writer's room.
They were absolutely spot on.
Two of them actually. One of them is somebody that I knew, Norman, anyway. I love those scenes. I felt so uncomfortable with those people. It's perfect. Like me, Rich, felt uncomfortable with these actors.
They made you so miserable. I love that. It was just it was beautiful to watch.
I didn't like them. I didn't do any scenes with them, and all I knew of them were their characters. And I thought, wow, you're shitty people.
Definitely, clearly, you have a feeling about them.
James, you were your own misery.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks to me.
Well, definitely. Rich, you've talked about leaning into humiliation comedy. What makes that so funny and relatable, do you think?
You know, I think what inspires it, first of all, is there are things that happen in my life, humiliating moments, like professionally. I was in a writer's room once, and I was the head writer of the show. I was hired there was someone above me who created the show, but I was brought in to be the head writer to manage the writers' room. The writers were all young writers in their 20s, and the script supervisor, the person who was, we would pitch lines and she would type them up and they would appear on a big screen behind us. She was probably 21. And so we'd go around the room pitching lines and she's typing and she's laughing. And every time it came to me and I would pitch a line, she wouldn't type. And then it went to the next person and it would go around the room again. It would come to me, I'd say a line and she wouldn't type. And part of me was like, okay, I'm your effing boss, number one. And number two, you don't edit writers and decide what's the good line and what's not the good line. But there was a part of me that was like back here going, this is genius. Like this would translate really well into in a story visually, like to see the humiliation the person is going through in this room surrounded by younger writers. So I think a lot of the humiliation, the desire to do the humiliation just comes from my own sense of humor when it comes to how, when I have felt humiliated. And I just always think like, oh, this is great. Even though I'm in a crappy situation, I was like, I love this. And then when I put other characters through it, like James, for instance, Gedde doesn't really get that much humiliation, but James is just a blast. Because I know James so well, and I know what he will bring to it when his character is so frustrated. And I think, just pulling back a little bit, like our characters, the show's called The Disappointments. Our characters have had a lot of disappointments in their lives, so they're just dealing with frustrations. So to see those frustrations get piled up just makes for entertaining viewing, I think.
Is it episode 1 or 2 that Chuck sort of, assigned James something, and that's is that 1 or 2?
That's the first. I think that's the first episode.
First one. Yeah.
Is that really the first episode?
Yeah. So much happens, James. So much. That's the first.
Well, James, speaking of the episode that Rich was talking about, the huge comedy sequence, what was it like for you to shoot that? And when you're doing, I didn't realize it was 6 minutes. When you're doing something like that, is there a performer or performers you're drawing inspiration from?
Well, let me just throw this in. You haven't seen that episode yet.
No, I know I haven't seen that one. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I won't give anything away.
Okay.
But it's interesting that so the sequence is like 6 minutes. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
But we shot it for what, a few hours?
Wow.
And it was physically exhausting, is what I'll say. I mean, it was fun. I was having a good time, but there was, and I don't want to say anything, but it was physically demanding. And after a while, it's like, Jesus Christ, like I didn't know I was in.
Are you done, Rich? Did you get the shot?
Exactly.
We weren't even shooting, James.
Throughout this season, your character is pretty physical. A lot of physicality in this whole season.
Yeah, and I love physical comedy. I mean, I grew up, and so this dates me absolutely, but like I grew up with I Love Lucy and Carol Burnett and Warner Brothers cartoons, where that is just so slapstick. And even though it's animated physical comedy, it's a lot of shtick. And the Three Stooges. So that's always been funny to me, but especially like Lucy's physicality, and even Carol Burnett, were pretty amazing. And so maybe I just sort of like tried to channel them in whatever, way I could. But it was fun. And then to see it yes, Gedde, something you want to share with the class?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Are you at a
being called
stoplight?
Back in. I'm at the rehearsal, James.
Gedde said he might get called back in.
I'm so sorry.
Do you have to go back into rehearsal?
Yes.
I do. I have to get back into rehearsal. I really apologize.
Oh, no worries. Thank you so much, Gedde.
Is there a last? Oh, thank you guys. It's just great seeing you. I'm sorry. I'm being looked at, so I better go. All right.
No.
I'll see you later.
Bye,
Bye,
Gedde.
Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Don't forget to disconnect. Don't walk with your phone.
Just,
Okay.
oh my God.
All right. Oh dear God. All right. You might be hearing me in rehearsal. Hold on. I'm heading to it right now. Wait, hold
We
on. Let
hear
me see.
you,
How do I get
Geddy.
out of this? Oh
I'm
boy.
going to kick him out.
Can you kick him out, Alan?
I'll kick him out. That's hysterical.
Comedy gold.
So
Somebody-
that is good.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you really, with your entire cast, have this incredible, you have an incredible
Challenge.
talent.
Challenge.
A challenge. Rich, Ray's storyline, you bring in your work in animation. What made you want to bring that into it?
Well, with all the characters, I wanted to get them into different worlds to explore them interacting with different people besides their friends. And so with Ray, it's because so much of that character, I draw for every character from my life, but for Ray in particular, it's a lot of me. And so I have had those jobs working in writers' rooms. So I just thought, like I said, talking about that one moment of humiliation in that one writer's room with the young woman who wouldn't type my lines. There's just so much of that. And I just thought it's visual. It's people will get it. The discomfort between Ray being in his 60s, working with these kids in their 20s, and just getting into the ageism, which I think is a theme to that. Well, I think that a lot of us are in our age bracket experience, and I wanted to touch on that in a funny way.
That is an understatement. That we experience that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It is an unfortunate gift that comes with age.
And we have so much wisdom to share.
Yeah, I wish folks would put value in that.
Yeah,
I wish so too.
It would be nice. Jose,
There are those that do. I don't want to discount everybody.
absolutely.
Oh yeah, 100%.
No, and I know that wasn't like for overall, but it can definitely be a challenge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Jose was asking James, does physical comedy require muscle memory? I mean, is it like dancing that you have to memorize certain steps, or is it more natural, more unscripted, or maybe both?
I would say maybe both, actually. Because you have to know, like it actually has to be choreographed, especially for what we were doing. And especially with the camera following and all that, like you got to stay in frame. You can't move too fast, but you can't go too slow. And so it's rehearsing it a few times and getting the sort of, if you want to call it, learning the steps, and then you know it, and then you just let it go and do what you need to do, and then put your intention, your acting choices into it as well. Because there's one thing just doing the bit, but then what's motivating it, right?
Right.
And so it was full on.
Full on.
And I guess, and what was good, there were some times, I don't know if we have any outtakes or anything, but there were some things that would just happen, and we would all laugh, and it's like, okay, great, let's go and do that again.
Rich, if you have, James said you shot for hours, maybe you need to do like a blooper reel from that. Down the road.
We have some clips pulled together. I need to dive back into the hard drive and look at what we have. Our editor has some. I looked at what he had. I was like, God, I know there's more. So
there's bloopers for everybody. Everybody has some really good bloopers.
Yes, that is true.
That's great. I've asked everybody this before, Chuck, when they were here previously for the first season. What led you into acting?
Well, I'll tell you. I will tell you, this is going to sound a little cliche. I was my fifth grade teacher, Miss Daniels, at Jefferson Elementary School in Hammond, Indiana, approached my parents and said, do you think he would want to be the narrator of the Christmas play? And the character was Happy Holiday, which stood for Herbert Aloysius Penrod Percy Yardley. And I still remember it to this day. But I said yes, and there was something about the bustle behind the scenes and the smell of the hairspray and making people laugh. All that was very exhilarating to me, and that's where I was bit, as they say. It started in 5th grade.
I mean, incredible, the power of a t-shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, and I thank her, Mrs. Daniels. May she rest in peace.
It is really that just. I love that.
And the same thing happened with I'm a dancer as well. And at 14, Miss Larrabee in my middle school told me to go do the musical in the park that year, and it was Brigadoon. And I never danced a lick in my life. And I went there. I got the role of Harry Beaton, which is a dance character. The choreographer said, "I'll give you all the dancing lessons in the world," which I did. And and I'm bringing it full circle is that I'm about to start Brigadoon here in Los Angeles, in Pasadena, at the Pasadena Playhouse in Brigadoon. So which is almost 45 years later. So it's come full circle. So I just love that feeling of the bustle and the smell of the hairspray in the back and just entertaining people. Hairspray. Anyway.
Coincidence, I did Brigadoon in college.
Oh, you did?
Yes. just a background, but yes.
Was there hairspray?
Oh, makeup, disgusting. I could send pictures that horrible. James, what was it like? You are a real estate agent in real life, correct?
I am.
Did it make it more fun or a little too real to play one on TV, as they say?
No, it made it more fun because I actually knew what I was talking about, for the most part. No, no, I do.
It was kind of happening at the same time, wasn't it? When you were.
What's that?
You're going into being a realtor was happening at the same time, correct?
I had already had my license, and I had I was kind of dabbling because I was still, living in LA full time. Even though I knew that my path was going to take me here to Palm Springs and that I would be a realtor, but I was still enjoying performing. But when I finally did move here full time, that's when I just dove headlong. I'm now a realtor with maybe a little toe in the acting pool. But this is, it's my livelihood. I actually enjoy doing it. And I love living out here. I got to tell you, it's a great place. I see Chuck here every once in a while. We have some shenanigans. Mm-hmm. We'll leave it at that. Wait a minute. No, wait a minute.
Wait. Is that James? James and Ignacio doing it? Is it research for another season?
I think I just threw up in my mouth.
Yeah, me too.
I did also.
But I will say it did help being a realtor because Rich would ask me, okay, so what is this and what would be happening? And
what would you say? What would we say here? I would write some dialogue and James would go, "No, this is wrong. You're stupid." And he would tell me what he would say.
That's probably pretty close to that, huh?
Yeah.
Probably word for word.
No, but we had a frame of reference, which was good, I thought. So
yeah,
it added to it.
We had an expert, which is good.
Mm-hmm. And Chuck's your boss.
Well, supposedly.
That's all I'll say. I wasn't reading anything else. Rich, a viewer just said, "I'm waiting for the day when we hear the portion of the disappointments is brought to you by Jif."
Oh.
I wouldn't mind that if they were giving us enough money to make the show. Absolutely.
Right. We're all in the same age bracket. I'm about to hit 60 in October. What advice, wisdom, warnings do you have for me or anyone else heading into that decade?
Well, James, you're almost out of it. Why don't you take it?
Oh, snap.
No.
Truth be told, yes. What I would say is don't wait. don't doubt yourself, and just dig in. You know, we like, you know, it's especially with what we see going on in the world right now. You know, there are no givens, and I know that sounds cliche as well, but what are you waiting? Not this is not to you, but to one. Yeah. What are you waiting for?
Right.
I love that.
Time is running out. But also the thing I would say too is to like lean into your friendships. Keep your friends and your family close, because, you know, just to be realistic, your days are numbered. Health, maybe not in your 60s, but later on could become an issue. You just want to have the people who have your back around you. So don't let friendships kind of drift off. Like keep those people close.
You know, can I just say something? Can I add to that? So we're sort of, in my humble opinion, we're sort of like the first generation, really, of sort of like out gay people who are actively creating their families and their support system, and you know that we I think we're able to be more conscious of who we place in our lives, and the value they bring to us, and the importance that we are to each other, and we've been lucky in this way that those before us, you know, really paved the way for us to be able to be who we are and how we are, and to really be grateful for that.
It's so true. I mean, you know, chosen family is the greatest gift, I think. Greatest gift. And your series demonstrates like the longevity of that chosen family. Like you three, you know, have been friends a very long time.
Yeah.
And that, you know, it's
well, and certainly like in real life, the show reflects in real life that James and I have known each other since the early 90s. Gedde and I have known each other since the late 80s. Chuck is a somewhat newer friend, but actually still 10 years by now, at least, right?
Well, 2009.
Well, I didn't like
Are the one, carry the nine.
It took me a while to warm up to you, you know, because of all the hairspray.
Exactly. The smell of the hairspray was good. You should have been there.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Rich, season 1, as you mentioned, everyone talked about the cliffhanger. Did you always know how you wanted the story to continue?
Yes. I actually shared, while we were still editing, shared with Trevor, who plays Dwight, what I remember this clearly, like what I wanted to do with the characters, and a couple of key lines that I was going to write. And in that moment, when I told it to him, he teared up. I was like, okay, this is going to work. And then from that to actually see us do these scenes, you know, a couple of years later, it's always cool. It's always cool to like think of something and then to write it and then to actually make it. It's very satisfying, and it's also a little surreal.
And how amazing to have soap veteran Michael Corbett play that part.
Michael brings a good amount of weight to that part. I don't mean it in the sense that he's heavy. Michael's a slim guy. He looks great. But he has a you know, little.
He has a gravitas.
He has a gravitas.
Yeah.
A little backstory about Michael and our show, the history. When we first started doing the show, when I first wrote it and I was doing readings of it, we had like a somewhat of a different cast. James was always part of it. Jim J. Bullock was going to play the part that wound up being Gary. It was written for him. He was unable to do the production, and it was very last minute, so I had to recast it. And when I had done the readings, Michael Corbett, who attended them, in fact, he hosted at least one of them, said, if you have a part for me in this, both of them, if you have a part for me in this, I would love to do it. And so I went to him out of desperation. I said, okay, we need to recast this part. So he was originally cast as Gary, but it was so clear that Michael just carries himself in a certain way that you weren't going to buy him as Gary. No knocking any acting ability. It's just some characters, some people just can't play certain characters. We had a conversation about that, and he agreed with me, and he stepped away. Gedde and I connected. He and I had a falling out, which I think I've spoken about before. He and I had not spoken for 23 years, and I reached out of the blue and was basically like, "Hey, I wrote this thing. Do you want to be a part of it?" And he said without hesitation, yes. So that was beautiful. And then Corbett came back in and said, "I want to be a part of this still." And he had an idea. There's a character that I had written, and he knew that it was in the script, and he said, "I want to play that character." And that character has a much bigger part in season 2. So that's the whole.
Yeah, I forgot about his involvement. I remember you telling us that last time we spoke. What was it like winning the Humanitas Prize? What did that mean to you?
It was such a surprise and honor. I mean, that's a lot of people don't know what that is, but it's actually it carries a lot of esteem and prestige. And it was ours was the first web series ever to get one. And it's for the writing. So it's for me, like, it was like, okay, I'm getting some validation from outside that this is a good thing to be doing, that people are connecting to it. People are appreciating it. Plus, it came with the $10,000 prize.
Oh, I didn't realize. Well, even better.
I pumped it right back into the show, though, so it wasn't really. I didn't get to spend it.
Is that when you bought that furniture?
James, always with the jokes.
Sorry.
I love it. But just reading from Humanitas, it honors and empowers film and TV writers whose work explores the human condition in a nuanced, meaningful way. Amen to that on your show.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think I'm happy that they saw that in season 1, and I think that season 2, I think that's even more true.
The show being called The Disappointment, it is also, of course, a comedy. How important is humor in telling these stories to all of you? That question.
For me, you're not alone. I think everyone can relate to this, and it's a way to laugh at it. You can go through it and laugh at it and just realize you are not alone, and that you will get through this, with the right attitude, right friends. Everyone can relate.
And humor. Yeah.
Well, I mean, go ahead, James.
Well, I was just going to say, it's sort of piggybacking on what you said earlier, like shit happens to all of us, and it's brief, it's sort of like pain is temporary and then you move on, and so any sort of disappointment or humiliation, if you can't sort of just step back and look at the ridiculousness of it, or, to be able to go, okay, this isn't forever. And, and that was actually kind of funny. And in the way that Rich experienced, your writer's room, that, okay, there's actually value in this. This is going to serve me at some point. I get to use this. But humor is a big part of my life. And
it is,
but it's, yeah, I just,
well done.
but it's not all of my life. It's a great defense. Humor is a great defense, as other people choose other behaviors, but humor is important. And I have to plug my computer in. I'm getting a signal saying plug it in. Okay.
You're getting a flash.
But
Flash.
It's if we need humor, obviously, our late night talk show hosts now who are under fire, we see how important humor is, even in the bleakest of times. So it's like, you got to hang on to that. And again, it's something to be grateful for.
What were you going to say, Rich?
Oh, I forgot. I'm 64. I forgot.
Then I was in third grade. Let me tell you. So
it's like comedy and tragedy are so close. They're just like this. It's like
Right?
basically, it's like tragedy with a spit take, like or like just some little dark twist to the tragedy makes it funny, but it's still, they skate so close together.
There's a song by Joni Mitchell, People's Parties, and one of the lyrics in it, it's just coming up to me. I don't know if you guys know.
Are you gonna sing?
No. Laughing and crying, it's all the same release.
Yeah.
It's true.
I encourage you to listen to that song. It's a great song. I think it's on, I don't know if it's on Hissing of Summer Lawns or Court and Spark. I love Joni Mitchell.
Yeah.
Which brings
Rich,
me.
you said that there are still more stories to tell with these characters,
Yeah.
whether that's another season of the disappointments or something different. How do you think the future of the disappointment? How do you think of the future right now?
I think that the only way we can go forward is with an actual budget, and we ran up against roadblocks in trying to sell the show as existing content to streamers. There's a certain, various reasons, like we don't have any known people in the show, and yet nobody was known in Heated Rivalry. We don't have, our budgets was smaller, so it doesn't necessarily have some massive action sequences or whatever. But a lot of it too is that different companies want to develop their own material, and having something come in that they're not invested in, their executives did not sort of foster it into existence. It's hard to get them to be super interested. It rarely happens. And I think that makes making a third season difficult. The only way I would do a third season is if we make enough money that we can pay everybody, including the actors. Like James has a full-time job. It doesn't make sense. It's too hard for James to do it again, to walk away from real estate unless he's actually making money doing this. And I'm not talking about a huge amount of money. James, you'll get $5,000 and you'll be happy. No, but I'm actually talking about something more substantial,
Right.
not crazy. Like, it's still low budget, but to make it worth people's time, to take time away from their lives to do. Yes, it's a project that we all love, and we love the fans. So all of this is to say that I think one of the things I'm thinking of that I'm looking at is to make a movie instead of another series, because if we can't sell a series, we can sell a movie. There are many more venues, many other distributors and possibilities for that, as well as film festivals, which there are not a lot of television film festivals. There are not a lot of places where you could enter the disappointments and get it seen. So a movie is much more of a known entity, and I have all the ideas I have, and I've got some great ideas for what would be a third season. They will translate really well to a movie, and I just have to tweak it for the structure to work, as opposed to doing another 8 or 10 episodes of a show.
Well, I think fans would be on board for all of that, but you're right. There are like so many film festivals that, and especially LGBTQ ones.
Right. And films are more apt to get picked up for distribution on Netflix, on whatever the streamers are, Amazon. Of course, that's all dependent on what the political climate is and who owns these at the end of the day, because of this consolidation by so many conservative-minded, anti-LGBTQ individuals. It's more important than ever that any LGBTQ voice gets out there, whether it's ours, we do a certain thing, but not just ours, like all of them, all the stories.
100%. And speaking of that, and speaking of you mentioning Heated Rivalry, did you all join the craze yourselves?
Yes, I did. I've seen it twice. I think it's great. I do. And I'm happy for there's a lot of depth in there.
Which team are you on?
Which team am I on?
Ilya and
No, the other one.
Me too. And I forget their characters'
Ilya
names.
and Shane or Kit and Scott?
Scott.
Kit and Scott.
Kit. Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's
more interesting. How it's so weird to say that. Like, I find their story more sort of compelling. I don't know why.
And it came out of nowhere in some respect.
Right.
Exactly. That it was
so well done.
Yeah.
It was well done. And those actors are fantastic. And kudos to Jacob Tierney for getting it out there and the right recipe.
And HBO for picking it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, HBO.
Yeah.
What about us?
Exactly.
HBO.
Were you on board too, Rich?
Les, I had a problem initially with the writing. I think it got significantly better. But I just wasn't buying the broness of it in the beginning. Like, it just felt fake to me, and like so it really threw me. I was watching it with another writer, and you know, writers are I can't use that word.
Dicks.
Go ahead.
I was going to use the other one, but no, they're we could be a little bitchy about stuff, and I tend to be. I want everything to be good, and I want everyone to succeed, and to that point, like, I love the fact that this show came out. I love that it's done so well. I really like it from episode 3 to the end. I found the first 2 episodes to be just, I wasn't in.
I think,
But that's
from what Go ahead, James.
No, you go.
I mean, I've heard that they basically wrote it, or really, the sex was to sell it in the first 2.
Yeah.
And then they pulled back on the sex, where we all fell into the story. And a lot of people, I think, turned it off because of, like you describe it, either the writing or just they felt it was overtly too sexual, and they missed the better half of the series because of that.
Right.
But I think it's what drew people in. And I was going to ask, because of the fact that we know that it was so many women who fell in love with this series and who have watched it over and over again. Do you hear from a lot of women on the disappointments?
Yeah, we surprisingly a large amount of women, and it's somewhat for the same reason. I mean, I think that they like, what I gather from the comments that we've gotten is they like to see male characters, straight or gay, probably expressing themselves emotionally. That's because it's rare in, I guess, in heterosexual male world. I'm not in it that much, so I can't say for sure it's that way. My straight friends are pretty expressive. So I think, you know, perhaps that's part of what the draw is. They might also be into like a little bit of man-on-man action, just from a kinky kind of thing. It's like, yeah, go girls. But yeah, we do. We do.
I love that.
They're really
when viewers finish season 2 of The Disappointments, what do you hope they take away, and why is now the perfect time for people to jump in?
Do you want me to answer that, or like one of these other people's?
Any of you think?
Again, I'm going to follow up with maybe you guys know. Just to take your friends, you know, keep your friends close, really put the effort into to have those friendships around, and to know that you're not alone in what we're all going through, and will all pass. Just have faith and reach out to those friends.
I mean, I think
I
that's
like.
Go ahead, James. You go.
I was going to say, thanks, Rich. That season 2 has got a very different feel than season 1. That season 2 kind of comes back to the three friends, and seeing them actively engage and support each other in what they're going through, really being there. And it's exactly what Chuck is talking about as well. But we're illustrating that through some mishaps, some wacky stuff, and some very heartfelt stuff, and even like what Rich was saying just a few minutes ago, that showing your emotions, your emotionality. But I think more than anything, I would like to think that our characters are actually coming from a place of authenticity. Our characters are authentic. They may be, a little pulled here and there, but these people are real. At least that's my sense of them. And there's authenticity. And I think that's why it resonates with sort of a wider universe of people who are enjoying it. Younger men, women, straight, gay, in wherever you are on the spectrum with it. There's something to be said about that, about authenticity.
Yeah, I agree with James about that. The authenticity of the characters. I also think it's it's a common experience to reach a certain age and to look back and feel a sense of disappointment, a sense of, I didn't do the thing I said I was going to do. I didn't achieve the thing. I didn't get the houses I wanted to get. I didn't make the money I wanted to. My job did not go in the direction I wanted it to go. Like, there's so many of these things. And I know from experience that that's one of the aspects of the show that people respond to. Like, people will write to me and say, I'm straight, but I so get blah, blah, blah about a character and what they're going through. So there is a universal theme that people connect to. If you're a little bit older, I think what's fun about younger people watching the show, because we do have people who are in their 20s. I forget what the analytic is on YouTube. I think it's like 24 to 30, somewhere in there, like 33 maybe. That's our second highest viewership.
Wow.
And I think that I think some of them, they like older guys, number one. But I also think there's perhaps, maybe they're not seeing this, there's a cautionary tale here, because you don't want to do what these guys did. You want to start saving in your 20s. You want to start planning for your retirement, because it will happen, and it'll happen way sooner than you think it's going to happen.
Yeah. It
goes by, as we know, it's that cliche, how fast the time goes, but it does. I think there's something for everyone. And ultimately, you said, why now? I think because of the state of the world, to come to a show where you are with people who love each other, and they're doing funny things, and they're doing there's twists and turns, as you said, Alan, the thing that you saw at the end of the third episode, unexpected, and then that takes us into a new direction. There are things that happen that make it entertaining, but I think that they're at the heart of it is heart. Mm-hmm. And it's Gary, James, and Ray, particularly as the main three, but also with Ignacio. It's like, he's crazy, but you see why he's crazy. As you get deeper into the episodes, you see his relationship with his mother, and you're like, oh, okay.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that. But you're right. I can tell you, just even in the three, I do feel the heart in I think just the fact that you're all together and leading up to that surprise in three, there's a lot of heart right there in that whole episode, that, leading there. Congratulations, Rich. You should be damn proud for what you've put together here. You really...
I am proud, and this is two other guys sitting here of a whole cast of people who I'm just so grateful for, who read the scripts, decided they wanted to do it, brought so much of themselves to it, always showed up, never complained, except for James a little bit. But no, seriously, everybody was coming to me with ideas, how would I do the scene this way? And I just thrived on the the cooperative energy, the excitement that everybody, the creative spark that every single person brought to the set.
Well, we all, longed for representation growing up. We're all the same age. There was no representation. And here you are representing, to the world, because thankfully, because of YouTube, people around the world can watch, and see themselves in each of the different characters. So kudos to the entire Disappointments team for that.
Yeah, we had Billy Crystal in Soap. That's, if you remember, that's
right.
I knew.
Well, not
100%.
to diss anything that has come out, but I have never seen personally, I have never come across a show that I can look at and say that I see myself in it 100%. And there's been some things that have come out in the last couple of years, like some shows that are kind of close to our age group, and I was like, it's not it. It's, you're doing something and it doesn't feel real.
I know which one you're talking of, and it did not.
Are those
hopefully
are those couches mid-century modern?
It did not feel real, and that was a shame.
Wow.
But you're right. You're right about not seeing. You're right. Like, this is a show where I feel like I can see myself in any one of them. But
or that those people, that you actually have people in your life who are those people, or close facsimiles, where, as opposed to watching something, it's like I don't know anybody there.
And I will say that shows like that, where I don't know anybody, they can be entertaining still. I was interviewed about something and I mentioned Pose, which I don't personally know. That's not entirely true, but very few people I know would be from that world. And so I don't connect to it very strongly. However, I loved that show.
Right.
And, the drama, the characters, the everything about it, it was great. And
I loved Will and Grace, but I don't think I really considered that seeing myself, but the fact that there was, gay characters on TV meant something.
But those people, don't you?
Yes. I think Glee was more for, but was much later, because it was the theater world. And I loved that. And I loved the fact that young kids actually, because I was much older when that came out, but I think the fact that young kids had that to view and see themselves, because I'm sure many kids saw themselves in those characters.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think for our show, the other thing is I wanted to show a version of people like myself, people that I know, who struggle with means, that they're not all like super rich, Sex in the City, where they're just like flouncing around Manhattan, going for cocktails all the time, wearing the most expensive clothes. Like, how are you paying for that? You write an article for a magazine. Like, how do you afford
that
all
pays
this?
Nothing.
But I mean, there have been shows like that about gay people too, and it's those people exist. I just don't relate to it. Again, I wanted to see something that reflected more my life experience and the people around me.
We'll keep doing that. Whatever comes next. Whatever comes next. Congratulations, gentlemen. Sunday, March 22nd. Don't miss the premiere. Is it at a certain time?
It comes out at let me figure this, 1:00 Sunday afternoon, East Coast time.
East Coast, 1:00.
10 o'clock LA time. So I don't know why I picked that. It just randomly picked those times. Like, I don't know if that was the best idea. I should have done it Friday nights. Oh well, it's disappointing, but that's what I chose.
Oh my God.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. Always great to see you. Chuck,
thanks for having us, Alan.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Anytime. Continued success.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you to Rich, Gedde, James, and Chuck for spending this time with us tonight. Don't miss season 2 at 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific time on Sunday, March 26th, right here on YouTube. Next week in the locker room on Wednesday, March 25th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, I'll be joined with Catherine Cammie. Soap fans will remember her as Pamela Kingsley on All My Children and Marcy Campbell on Guiding Light. We'll also talk about her primetime roles and her part in the cult classic Sleepaway Camp. I hope you'll join us next Wednesday, the 25th. Thank you to everyone watching live and those catching up later. If you haven't already subscribed, you can do so. Please be sure to click the notifications. Turn on the notifications for reminders of all upcoming shows. And remember, you can listen to The Locker Room on your favorite streaming platform. Thanks, everybody, for spending this time with us. As always, stay safe, and I'll see you next time in The Locker Room. What a crew.